The boiling point of water, for context, is 100 degrees Celsius, lower at higher elevations. Brock had grown what were among the most heat-tolerant bacteria on Earth. As he would later note, finding this life form wasn't hard. It was just that no one else had tried to grow microbes at temperatures so high. Laboratories had cultured samples from hot springs in 55 degrees Celsius culture conditions, too cold for Thermus aquaticus to grow well. Subsequent research has revealed an entire world of bacteria and archaea that can be grown only under very hot conditions. To such microbes, the temperatures at which we live out our ordinary lives are so cold as to be unlivable. Why bring the story of Thermus aquaticus up in a book on houses? Because the temperatures and conditions found in geysers and other hot springs, as unusual as they might seem, are very similar to those found around us in our daily lives. A student in Brock's lab thought it possible that Thermus aquaticus or other similar bacteria were even living unnoticed alongside us. To test the idea, the student and Brock probed the coffee maker in Brock's lab, a machine that was plenty hot enough to favor Thermus. Given how much the machine helped fuel their work, it would have been an apt place to find the species. It wasn't there. Brock found himself wondering about other places around him that contained hot liquids, such as the human body. Human bodies are not nearly as warm as hot springs, but Brock thought perhaps the bacteria might be present anyway, holding out for moments of fever. Who knew? It was easy enough to check, so Brock produced a sample of human spit. In an email, he declined to note whether it was his own, which, in my experience studying the behavior of scientists, means it was. He tried to grow Thermus aquaticus from the spit. Nope, no Thermus aquaticus. He checked human teeth and gums, much as Leeuwenhoek might have. None there either, nor any other heat-loving bacteria. Neither were there any in the lake from which he took a sample, nor in the nearby reservoir. He also checked the cactus in the greenhouse in his building, Jordan Hall. Nothing. Perhaps it really was a bacterial species found only in hot springs. Just to be sure, Brock checked one more location, the hot water tap in his lab in Jordan Hall. Brock's lab was 200 miles from the nearest hot spring, yet the lab's tap water contained what looked to be Thermus aquaticus. This was fantastic. Brock wondered whether the hot water heaters provided the habitat for the microbe. The water in the tap was warm, but not like in a hot spring. The hot water heater itself should be nearly perfect. Maybe the bacteria lived in the hot water heater, and every so often inadvertently rode downstream to the tap. Eventually, another pair of researchers, Robert Romali and Jane Hickson, both of whom also worked at Indiana University, did additional sampling of thermophilic bacteria around Jordan Hall. When they did, they too found a kind of thermally tolerant bacteria. It was similar to the Thermus aquaticus noted by Brock, but it wasn't identical, so they called it Thermus X1 for the time being. Unlike Thermus aquaticus, it wasn't yellow, it was clear. Also, it grew faster than did Thermus aquaticus. Romali speculated that perhaps it was a new strain of Thermus aquaticus. Maybe the yellow pigment of Thermus aquaticus was an adaptation that protected it from the sun out in exposed hot springs. Perhaps, having colonized water sources in the building, this strain might have lost the ability to produce the expensive and unnecessary pigment. Brock, who had by then moved to the University of Wisconsin, decided it was time to study the thermos in buildings in more detail. Brock, along with his lab technician, Catherine Boylan, looked in hot water heaters both in homes and in laundromats near the University of Wisconsin. In laundromats, hot water heaters are often larger and used more consistently than those in homes, such that they might be even more likely to house thermophilic microorganisms. At each site, Brock and Boylan unfastened the drain on a hot water tank and examined what was inside. In hot water heaters, like in hot springs, temperatures can get very hot. In addition, all tap water contains organic material, perhaps enough of it to sustain Thermus aquaticus. Over a century ago, the ecologist Joseph Grinnell applied the term niche to describe the set of conditions